Hello everyone, this is me Abdul Sabur, your English language instructor. You're watching EnglioCity. EnglioCity aims to teach you English language in a better way, right? Why? Because we provide you the best techniques, we provide you the best ways in advanced and research-based structures which will assist you and which will help you to learn or enhance your English language skills. Well, in this very specific tutorial, we are going to cover the three major tenses in English grammar. Before we start the three major tenses, which is simple present tense, simple past tense and simple future tense, it's very important and it's very crucial for you people to know about a short introduction for tenses. I've already recorded a lecture on introduction to English tenses, which I'm going to mention in the description below and also going to mention here above in the I button, right? You must watch it before watching this video. Why? Because it will help you a lot. It will provide you a clear mindset towards English language tenses, right? Well, so the topic that we are going to cover is going to be simple present tense, simple future tense, and simple past tense. Well, let me explain the structure before we start with the definition and structures and usages, right? In the very first 2 minutes, I'm going to explain all these three major tenses in basic level, according to basic level. And after 2-3 minutes, right, I'm going to teach you the advanced level as well. So I'm going to cover these three tenses in basic level and also advanced level. Well, let's start with simple past tense. How do we define simple past tense? Well, normally the definition of tenses have become the biggest issue for students. Why? Because I have been experiencing my students, they never memorize the definitions. If they even memorize definitions, so definitions are going to be in their short-term memory for a while, and after a few days, they're going to forget it. Well, we do not focus and we do not accentuate more on the definitions, but we focus on the structures and usages. And I personally believe that structures will help you to speak a language, not the definitions. Usages will allow you to use tenses in proper time, right? Not the definitions. So, well, the bookish definition for simple past tense is that simple past tense talks about an action that started in the past and finished in the past with a specific time. How do we define simple past tense? And simple word is that simple past tense talks about completed actions in the past. For example, an action that took place in the past. You can think of yesterday, you can think of an hour before, you can think of a week before, month before, or year before. All those actions that have occurred in your life, right? You can use subject plus second form of verb plus object. This is the positive structure for simple past tense. For example, last weekend, or we say that I went to a beautiful place, or I visited a beautiful place last weekend. Now, as you see, I is the subject, visited is the second form of verb, a beautiful place is the object in the sentence, right? Now, keeping in mind that the positive structure always talks about that an action have happened, where the negative structure talks about an action that have not happened. For example, let's convert the same example into negative, and that's going to be I visited a beautiful place last weekend. I did not visit a beautiful place last weekend. This is going to be the negative structure where it is the subject plus the first form plus did not plus the first form of verb plus the object. Most of the students they use the second form of verb in the negative structure for simple past tense, which is wrong. And in the interrogative structure, we use did at the beginning, right? After that, we use subject, and we use first form of verb in interrogative structures as well, and then we use the object. For example, I visited a beautiful place. I did not visit a beautiful place. Did I visit a beautiful place? So in the positive structure, we talk about an action that have happened. In the negative structure, we talk about an action that have not happened. And in the interrogative structure, we ask questions actually, right? Well, that was the simple usages of simple past tense. Now, talking about the other usages of simple past tense can also be used to talk about past habits. For example, think of certain habits that you normally used to do when you were a kid, but now you don't do it. And for that, we have a specific structure which is used to plus first form of verb. And even used to is a second form of verb that refers to past tense. So with the help of second form of verb, we can also talk about past habits. For example, when I was a kid, I used to cry a lot. Now, crying is a habit. Or when I was a kid, I used to bite my nails, right? Now, biting nails is also a habit. People do it out of habit. Past tense can also be used to describe past stories. Past stories. Now, what did you do yesterday? For example, you talk about your structure. How did you spend your yesterday? You say that yesterday I woke up at 7 o'clock. I visited the park, or I went to the park, and I took a tour of the park. Or you say I did jogging, right? Now, did, went, took, woke up, right? All of them are second form of verb which refers to past tense. And past tense can also help us to talk or describe past stories, right? Well, that's it for past tense. Coming towards simple present tense. Now, simple present tense. How do we define simple present tense? Most of the students have confused themselves with simple present tense and present continuous tense. Whenever I ask them about definition of simple present tense, they normally tell me that simple present tense talks about an action that is happening right now. Well, when an action is happening right now, that comes in present continuous. Simple present tense talks about regular actions. Now, what do we mean by regular actions? Actions that happen every day, actions that happen every week, actions that happen every month and every year, that comes in regular actions. For example, regularly, what do you do? Regularly, what do you do? Think of all those actions. For example, you say that I go to school every day, or I go to my English classes every day, or I watch EnglioCity. Now, I watch EnglioCity. Subject plus first form of verb plus object. This is the positive structure. Well, the positive structure, the subject normally takes an extra s or es. It depends on the subject. If the subject is singular, he, she, it, the subject will take, the verb will take an extra s. For example, I watch EnglioCity. It means you daily watch it or you regularly watch it, right? Now, if you talk about he, so we would say he watches EnglioCity, right? If our subject is singular, he, she, it, the verb would take an extra s or es. If our subject is I, you, we, they, the verb does not take an extra s or es. Well, the positive structure, I watch EnglioCity. The negative structure, I do not watch EnglioCity. Right? Now again, the positive structure talks about an action that is happening. The negative structure talks about an action that is not happening or not taking place. Right? The interrogative structure, do I watch EnglioCity? I watch EnglioCity. I don't watch EnglioCity. Do I watch EnglioCity? Now, this is how simple present tense help us to describe regular actions. Now, taking breakfast, you do it regularly. I take my breakfast, right? Or for example, I visit my parents or I visit my relatives. You do it regularly, once in a month or once in a year, but you do it, right? Well, simple present tense also talks about habitual actions, actions that you do it out of your habit. For example, well, that's a very bad example, I should not be using it, but people smoke. Now, smoking is an action that people do it out of their habit. Now, how would you say that that person smokes? So we would use simple present structure. Why? Because simple present structure, it actually talks about, it actually describes habitual action. Now, smoking is a habitual action. He smokes cigarette, right? Now see, if our subject is he, smoke is a verb here, it takes an extra is. Well, simple present tense is also used to talk about introduction. Now, simple present tense can also be used to help us with our introduction. Normally, whenever you go to a new place, so you are supposed to describe yourself, you're supposed to introduce yourself, and you say that this is me, Abdul Sabur. I'm originally from Afghanistan, but I was born and raised in Peshawar. Now see, I am Abdul Sabur. I am from Afghanistan, right? Now you have used SMR, which is the present of be, which is used in the present tense. That can be used to introduce yourself. Simple present tense can also help us with our introduction. Well, simple present tense can also be used to talk about present states. Now, what is present states? What do you do? Think about yourself. Are you a student? Are you a doctor? Are you a nurse? How would you define yourself? If you're a student, you say, I am a student. So you actually describe your state. You describe your status with simple present tense. Well, that's it with the simple present tense. Moving ahead towards our last topic in this session, which is simple future tense. Now, simple future tense is used to talk about actions that are going to take place in the future. For example, I will visit my parents tomorrow. I will visit my parents tomorrow. Now, the structure for this simple future tense is subject plus will plus first form of verb plus object. Now, this is the positive structure. I will not visit my parents tomorrow. Now, this is the negative structure, which is subject plus will plus not plus first form of verb plus object. The only difference between positive sentence and negative sentence is that a negative sentence contains not. That's the only difference, right? Now, it's also very important to practice on the structures instead of practicing on the definitions, right? Why? Because that's the structures which help you to speak a language, not the definitions, right? Well, the interrogative structure is, will I visit my parents tomorrow? Will plus subject plus first form of verb plus object. This is the interrogative structure for future tense, simple future tense. Well, now the other usages of simple future tense is that it also talks about immediate decisions. Immediate mean abrupt decisions, quick decisions. For example, you're in a restaurant and you're going to order for food. Now your friends are having a kind of arguments that they're going to order for pizza, they're going to order for burgers, or they're going to order for other foods. Now, they're all confused. They cannot decide a menu to order, right? Now, you take a quick decision. You take all of a sudden a decision and you say, I'll go for pizza. I will go for pizza. So, simple future tense can also help us to describe our immediate decisions. And beside that, simple future tense also help us to talk about predictions in the future. Now, how? For example, when you go out of your room and you see the sky, right? You see the clouds are dancing on the sky. So obviously, what would be your prediction? I mean, what would you anticipate that what would happen in the near future? Definitely, it's going to shower, right? It's going to rain. So now that is your prediction, and your prediction can also be described with simple future tense. For example, it will rain. Subject plus will plus first form of verb. So simple future tense structure can also be used to describe predictions. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have found this video helpful, and I hope you have enjoyed the session for today. I'll see you next time. Have a great time. Bye-bye.